Hello and welcome to NPWLive to celebrate Happy International Women's Day. My name is Simone Roche and I'm the founder of Northern Power Women. At the start of the year, we put out a shout to ask for people to submit 3-minute videos because we're really passionate about amplifying your voices and giving people a platform and a stage. We've been totally overwhelmed and we've received over 150 videos. And we're about to show you a selection of a real different variety of voices that we captured from the Northern Power Women community. Because we've been so overwhelmed by your voices and what you had to say, we've actually created a campaign. We've created our Be Heard campaign. Please sign up to have your voice heard. We want to make sure that the events and media industries are leveled up. You've got something to say and we want to hear it. So please sign up at be-heard.io and enjoy these fantastic videos.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Davies and I'm delighted to be part of the Northern Power Women's Live event. The theme that I've chosen is change, because as soon as I heard it, I knew immediately what I wanted to talk about. How you should never ever change who you are. Now, I launched my company back when I was 21, and to cut a very long story short, I was at university doing a business degree. I did a placement in the craft industry and I saw a gap in the market for a product which could produce handmade envelopes for crafters. So I made that vision come to life and Crafter's Companion was born. Now, when it came to actually graduating from university, I had a business which was turning over £500,000. I was very young, but I was incredibly ambitious and very dedicated. And I knew that I had what it would take to grow the business on a big scale. Now, to make this happen, as you would, I organised loads of meetings to discuss different opportunities, and quite often I would be the youngest person in the room at those meetings, or the only woman, or the only northerner. And it wasn't that I would try and overcompensate for who I was, but I always used to feel that, the right thing to do was to power dress in dark coloured structured suits, because I thought that's what I needed to be able to do to command people's respect in these sort of environments. And then a few years ago, I had a bit of a wake-up call and I decided that, I'm going to be myself. And either that would be good enough for the situation or it wouldn't. And if it wasn't, then the situation probably wasn't right for me. So I started wearing what I wanted to wear, what I felt was a reflection of who I was. So bright, bold colours, big prints, because I had the realisation that it was actually me who could sell our products. It was me who would win the contracts, not this image of me that I assumed people wanted to see. Now, it probably sounds like such an obvious thing, but once you realise that you shouldn't have to change yourself for anyone, you become unstoppable. Because you start believing in what you're capable of doing and your confidence and self-belief just goes through the roof. Now, I know from my own experience that I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am today or make Crafter's Companion the global business that it is without being authentic. And that also includes the amazing opportunity of joining the Dragon's Den panel a couple of years ago. So this is the thing I want to leave you with. When I did my first interview screen test for Dragon's Den, it was suggested to me that I might be a bit too nice. And for a second, I did kind of think, well, maybe I need to put on a bit of a front, be a bit more dragon-like, because, this was something that I really didn't want to miss out on, an opportunity that was too great to miss. However, I decided against doing that because it just wasn't me. And I stayed completely true to myself. And then look what happened. I got the big gig anyway. All you need to remember is that if some things don't work out, you'll never have to wonder, what if I was just me?
Hi, my name is Holly Ellis and I'm a clinical scientist in genetics in the NHS. I'm also known as the Scout Scientist on YouTube and social media. Throughout school, I was always interested in science and it was something that I was quite good at, but it was never something that I thought I could pursue as a career. After doing really well in my GCSEs and then continuing to do well during my A-levels, some of my teachers encouraged me to apply to Oxford University. I initially thought that this was a ridiculous idea because I was nothing like the image of the stereotypical Oxford student that I had in my head. I wasn't posh or rich. I didn't go to private school. Nobody in my family had been to university before, and I just didn't look or sound like an Oxford student. After a lot of persuasion, I decided to apply on the basis that I wouldn't get in anyway. So when I was offered a place to study biological sciences at St John's College, Oxford, I just couldn't believe it. I was so nervous and I really didn't think that it was for me. But to cut a long story short, I went, I had the best 3 years of my life and I got a brilliant degree. So I now want to encourage more young people from working class backgrounds to follow in my footsteps and push themselves out of their comfort zone, because you never know what it might lead to. After completing my degree, I got a place on the NHS Scientist Training Programme, and I now work as a clinical scientist in genetics. I created the Scout Scientist YouTube channel and social media platforms to provide a role model in science that young people can relate to. Why is it that whenever we see a scientist on TV or in the media, they're often the stereotypical white middle-class male in a big white lab coat with huge glasses, sometimes portrayed as the mad scientist? How on earth can young women look up to them and think that science is a career that they can aspire to? Well, this is definitely not what you have to look like to be a scientist, and that's exactly what I'm trying to show. I've filmed lots of videos in our lab to try and educate young people and inspire the next generation of scientists. I basically want to tell young people to just be themselves, and they can achieve anything they put their mind to.
Hello, I'm Victoria and I'm part of the 4th Atlantic 21 team. We are the British Army official mixed team. We're going to be entering into the Talisker Whisky Atlantic Challenge, rowing 3,000 miles across the Atlantic Ocean.
Hi, I'm Laura and I'm part of Team Force Atlantic 21. Our 4-person team are going to be working in shifts of 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 24 hours a day for around 40 days, unsupported, to get us across the Atlantic Ocean.
The British Army has opened up all job roles to women.
With ground close combat roles now open to females, it means that any female can join the infantry or work in the armoured corps.
Within the Royal Army Physical Training Corps, we work side by side with our male and female colleagues. Therefore, it goes without saying that our team came together with 2 men and 2 women.
Whilst on our journey, I'm most looking forward to the experiences that we're going to have, whether this is the sunrises, the sunsets, or the wildlife that we're going to see on our journey across the Atlantic.
So it's all not going to be plain sailing. We are going to be facing a number of different challenges. These include
Salt sores, blisters, sleep deprivation, seasickness. There's also the risk of capsizing, and then there's also the chance of a shark attack.
With all these wonderful experiences and challenges, I really do believe that we will be arriving in Antigua as changed people.
My name is Councillor Eileen Taylor, and I'm the Lord Mayor of Leeds. It's just a short message to you today about challenges. And as a woman, we do have challenges, but where women find most challenges is in the workplace. And the reason why we have challenges in the workplace, we have men, and some men feel that women doesn't belong there. So when I identify I'm going into a meetings or anywhere where I know it's going to be difficult and it's going to be challenges, I wore a trouser suit. Yes, a trouser suit. And the reason why I wore a trouser suit is unisex and everyone fits in trouser suit. So unisex clothes fit, so it doesn't separate a female from a male. You all look alike. So whatever challenges come on the table, we all solve it together. It doesn't matter what they said. If you feel it's wrong, speak that it's wrong. Us female have started on a journey, and the journey is to challenge ourselves, not to prove ourselves, but to let they identify what we can do. So when we're on our journey and we started our journey, one, I'll advise you, don't look back, don't turn back, because the men that doubted us will put something behind us for us to turn back. But when you turn back, you are still going to come back to the spot where you were, and it make our journey longer. So go forward, because whatever you're aiming for will be at the other side for you. Also, we need to teach our young girls that when they are with their brothers and their male friends, and when the male friend says, this is not a girl thing, we need to tell them, yes, it is a girl thing. And advise the young people not to jump on and off the buses to get to their destination. If their brothers or boys took a bike down, go with them, do the challenge, take it apart and put it together and prove it. That was a girl thing. So, as I said earlier, when we do face challenges, don't turn back, keep going. And when you get to your destination and the door is open and you go in the door, we leave the door jam open. And the reason why we leave it jam open is for our other sisters to come through. Because we had sisters before us that faced challenges, and because they were brave enough to continue on their journey, we picked up where they left off. So leave that door open and all women can get in and show all those who think it was impossible. It wasn't impossible for us women. Thank you for listening.
Does anyone choose to challenge or change, or are we forced into it by circumstance? There is nothing wrong with choosing to challenge or change. In fact, it can be quite uplifting and refreshing when done positively and with good intentions. My change was challenging. I was made redundant for the first time in my working life. And I thought, how do I deal with that positively? From the woman I am today, and as a little girl and a young woman, I have always been the type of person that challenges the status quo, always looking for the next thing. So it's no surprise that I grew up to be a business developer. I'm always seeking out the trends to understand the implications for my business or my client's business, and then work out the possibilities and solutions to take advantage of those trends. The pandemic has brought a lot of change in our personal and professional lives, and it's been difficult and tiresome and challenging. My change was challenging, and it wasn't chosen, but in fact it's a blessing. I've set myself up in business and I'm enjoying my work-life balance like never before. I'm making the rules, following my values, and choosing to work with people who have a similar purpose in life. It may not have been my choice to change, but I'm so glad it happened. And I'm challenged the notion of what success looks like and enjoying every single minute. So my advice is take this opportunity now during these unpredictable and unprecedented times and choose to challenge and change.
Hi, my name's Emma and I'm going to talk to you today about challenge and change. I started my career when I was 16. I decided that I didn't want to carry on with education, and I've got one AS level to my name, which is half an A level. I come from a very working class family. My dad worked in a scrapyard, my mum was a dinner lady, we lived in a council house, family of 5. Nothing overly special about us whatsoever. But I realised that I really wanted to go into a creative industry and I needed to build up my CV. That was a challenge and I didn't quite know what I wanted to do yet. So I bounced around doing loads of free work for a couple of years to really kind of learn about the industry and what I wanted to do. And I decided that I wanted to work in telly when I was about 19. So I put a time limit on it, and I said if I haven't broken into TV by the time I'm 21, I will have to enrol as a mature student and go to university. And luckily I did do it. Don't get me wrong, it was just luck of the draw timing, and you know, I don't know, the stars aligned, I'm not too sure, but it was as easy as breaking my challenge down and saying, right, how am I going to achieve this? Breaking into telly was the headline. I quite literally just thought, well, I need to get in touch with someone needs to give me a job. So I got in touch with the production manager at Line Pictures, who at the time was crewing up for series 10 of Geordie Shore. You can see my name at the end of the credits for series 10, so you know that I'm not lying. And I ended up working in TV for about 4 years and working my way up from being a runner to an assistant producer. That career seemed so far-fetched to me when I was 16. I just did not think, it didn't even enter into my brain that I could end up working in telly. And when I did, you know, it was amazing, it was so much fun. And when I decided that I wanted to leave, it was because I wanted a change, I wanted a new challenge. And I ended up coming on board with Simone and did the biggest ever Northern Power Women Awards in 2019. And Northern Power Futures Festival was birthed in Manchester and Newcastle, which was an absolutely phenomenal success. So keep striving for your challenges. Do not get comfortable. Be comfortable being uncomfortable and keep on with that cycle, and you will carry on developing and learning and changing as you go. My top tips would be to just find a mentor, find people that you want to look like that can really add to your career journey. They are like gold.
Hello everyone, I am Radi Vishwanathan, an entrepreneur building my startup Generation Purple, which is supported by the Masood Enterprise Centre at the University of Manchester. I am also an active advocate for inclusion. Firstly, here's wishing everyone a very happy International Women's Day. This year's theme is Choose to Challenge, and I'm compelled to think about the first time I chose to challenge to bring about a major change, which was 5 years ago when I chose to challenge the underrepresentation of migrants in university terms, international students being elected to leadership positions at my university. I chose to challenge by contesting in the elections myself and being elected as the first full-time international students officer at Manchester, and also serving the University of Manchester as the diversity officer. Today I am proud that a number of international students, not just at Manchester, but at various universities in the UK, are increasingly being elected to senior leadership positions. Serving as the diversity officer at Manchester Students' Union alerted me to the fact that the problem of inequality and underrepresentation was much wider than I could imagine. Through my own little way, I decided to undertake the challenge of reducing inequalities in the society, which has also been recognized by the United Nations as a Sustainable Development Goal. Through my startup Generation Purple, in our own little way, we are addressing the underrepresentation of marginalized student communities in corporate workplaces. We at Generation Purple are on a mission to make corporate workplaces accessible to every marginalized student community in the UK, such as women, students from the BAME, the Black Asian Minority Ethnic background, students from the LGBTQ+ background, disabled students, and students from lower socio-economic background, while also continuously educating employers to adopt more inclusive practices. This Women's Day, I request you all to further support us on our mission and challenge the inequalities to bring about a positive change. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Amy Straker and I work in the Diversity and Inclusiveness team at EY. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about inclusive behaviours and how we can all do our bit to ensure that we embrace belonging and inclusion and diversity in all its different ways. These are just a few hints and tips of things that we recommend in EY for people to exhibit and to create that sense of belonging for everybody. And hopefully this will help you as well in your journey, whatever you're on in terms of diversity. So the first thing we want people to be aware of is insider and outsider dynamics. So we've all had that feeling where you know you don't belong, you feel like you're not in on the joke, or you don't know the story, and it's just a horrible feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach. So whatever we can do, if we're in that insider group, to bring that person in to the conversation, the better. So whether that's telling them the story or just getting them to give a bit of their experience of whatever you're talking about, will create that sense of belonging. And essentially belonging is just being your whole self, however much you want to bring that in, being able to do that. So the second tip is embracing difference, talking to people that are very different from you. The more we can do that, the better. We know that's really how we learn and how we can become allies to each other, especially marginalised groups in whatever form they take. So whether it's our LGBT plus community or our ethnic minority community, there's lots and lots of differences that we all have that make us who we are. So the more we can kind of talk about that and embrace it, the better. The third tip is just to bring diversity into your day-to-day. A really, really simple tip is diversifying your social media if you use it. It's really simple, just looking through and thinking, do I follow people that are quite similar to me in terms of background or whatever it may be, and think, how can I follow some people that are different so I can hear some different voices and see some different faces. And it's just a really, really simple tip that allows you to kind of understand and build awareness. So again, you can be that ally to a group because you'll understand some of their thoughts and experiences. So there are just a few tips from me on how we can bring inclusive behaviours. Obviously, it's not an exhaustive list. There's loads of things that we can be doing, but hopefully that is just some food for thought to help you on your journey. So thanks everyone for listening, and happy International Women's Day.
Hello, my name is Lydia Osmond. A quick introduction to me. I have grown up in a family of amazingly strong and talented women. I went to an all-girls competitive and academic school, and I've always been surrounded by women. This might make you think that I've always been a proud feminist. Not the case. In this quick 3-minute talk, I'm hoping to give you a whistle-stop tour of my journey into feminism and the challenging of my own ideas as I grew up. I'm hoping that to also give you an insight into the feminist development of most teenage girls. And I think upon reflection, most of you will recognise some of these experiences. Around 13 or 14, I wanted to be anything but a feminist. I just wanted to fit in and be cool, and that meant when the boys would ask if I was a feminist in their trademark mocking way at that age, the only acceptable answer was no, of course not. I think boys are cool too. So many problems with that answer, but mainly the complete misconception of what a feminist is. You can think that boys are cool, and that doesn't make you any less of a feminist. And I saw this 14-year-old defiance more recently, firsthand, while working with Northern Power Women and as part of the Schools Initiative. We asked a classroom of 30 14-year-old girls if they would class themselves as a feminist, and 3 said yes. 3. They had been fed so many misconceptions by the media and by each other that they genuinely had no idea that all it took to be a feminist was to believe in equal rights for men and women. And thinking back, I just don't think I did either. And then we jump forward a year or so. We're probably the beginning of year 11 by now. And I have in fact realised I am a feminist. And I'm starting to discover so many inherently sexist parts of life. I am indignant on the daily. Everywhere around me, women were fighting to protect and empower me and my peers. And I realised I've grown up in this safe and secure female bubble. I was so privileged to have been surrounded by this many inspiring women growing up. And I never had to fight to have my voice heard in the classroom. And I never had to look any further than the women in my own family to realise what I could achieve if I put my mind to it. And thanks to these amazing ladies, I was oblivious for most of my early teens. But once your eyes are open, there is no going back. I realised I did so many subconsciously sexist things every day, like judging a woman on what she wore or not wanting to be seen as a girly girl. But working with Northern Power Women and the Schools Initiative, it has given me the gift of being able to teach and empower women girls who are just like I was. And so we reached the current day. I am by no means finished my journey, and I'm only just beginning really. But this is the progress that I have made in 5 short years, and I'm looking forward to the next 50.
Happy International Women's Day. I choose to challenge. Hi, my name's Rachel Peru. I'm a 50-year-old silver-haired curve model, midlife body confidence activist and host of the Out of the Bubble podcast, championing women over 40 and in midlife to become more visible. I speak to so many women that reach 40 and are left feeling invisible in society. And when you read reports like the Elastic Generation back in 2018 that stated that 69% of UK older women are left feeling invisible in the fashion industry, it's easy to see why. I started this new career modelling at the age of 46, and I would never have had the body confidence to have done this in my 20s and 30s. And now I found it's liberating, and I want to try and inspire and encourage other women in their 40s to be able to find their body confidence too. I'm passionate about being able to be seen in the fashion industry and represent older women. We need to be able to have diversity and relate to the images that we are seen and bombarded with every single day. I want to be able to go into a lingerie shop, pick up a bra, see a photograph of a woman my age wearing it so that I've got something to relate to. Instead of going into the changing rooms, looking at images of women over just in their 20s, and it makes us feel negative about ourselves because we have nothing else that we can relate to. I want things to change. I want to be part of the conversation. So I'm really passionate about being able to represent older women in lingerie and swimwear campaigns. I think it's so important that we get seen, and this conversation of older women is normal and we don't have to have a token gesture. I've been so lucky to have worked on some amazing campaigns, including modelling swimwear alongside the fabulous Ashley Graham at the age of 47. I've worked with Davina McCall in sportswear, and I think it's so important that we're all part of this conversation to make change for all our mental well-being. I also don't want younger women to fear ageing, because there's something to be celebrated, and we have got so much to offer. It's the reason why I set up the Out of the Bubble podcast in the first place, because I came across so many women that were out there doing inspiring, amazing things and embracing this next chapter in life. So I use my platform to be able to share and to encourage and inspire other women to know that they can do the same too. So we are not invisible. I choose to challenge.
Hi, I'm Dr. Madison Coke, a scientist here at the University of Manchester. I've now been associated with the university in some respects for the last 14 years. I worked my way up through doing a master's and a PhD, and then I decided I didn't really want to go into pure academia as such. So I've been part of the technical delivery of research for nearly 5 years. One great thing I think I've found being a scientist is the way in which every day there's a new challenge. I currently work in the Photon Science Institute and I'm using single atoms to change the entire properties of some materials. The power of something so small to do something so large, I think, reminds me sometimes of my daily work, especially when you don't seem to be getting anywhere particularly fast. Being a scientist, I have always found there to be power in numbers. From the numbers used to calculate theoretical probabilities to the power of the number of collaborators I work with through the years. Whenever there's a problem, I find that there's strength when utilising and recognising that within a team you are much stronger than going it alone. I find it particularly even more prevalent when dealing with my dyslexia. Many people have helped me through my time at the university. Sometimes my recall isn't quite as fast as my counterparts. That is to say, my contribution isn't any less worthy, but it takes a little bit of time. And I think with every problem I have faced, you can always find a solution. You can always push forward and find a different way of thinking. And sometimes that actually makes your contribution even more worthwhile. So now I make sure my voice is heard. Now, maybe not straight away, for example, in a meeting, but it might be through a different form of communication after, or through organising scientific follow-ups. I talk openly about my relationship with work, the effort I have to put in, the inevitable failures as well as the fluctuations of results. I've never been afraid of my struggle, and I keep forging onwards. I am a pioneer, I am an expert, I am a leader. I'm also a woman, dyslexic and a bisexual. All these add to the way I see problems, scientific or not, and they make my contribution unique. I don't know everything, but nor does anyone else. I know my boundaries, and I know which ones I have to challenge. I have worked my way up, and I keep striving. I think there's something really special about everyone's uniqueness and the way you can challenge things every day.
Hello. Yep, really urgent. Yep, that's fine. Okay, yep. Right, guys, bit of extra work to do tonight, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's so annoying. She's always not here.
Right, okay, finally. Done. Let's get home. Come on. Home. Oh, fast as I can. Traffic! Really annoying. Hi, guys. Oh, God. I've missed them. That is so annoying. Hi, yeah, no worries. I'll get on with that later. Guys, just going to go and pick the kids up now from school. I'll jump back on the laptop later. Right, here we go. In the car, jump to school. Wonder how they've got on. Hi, kids.
Hi.
What have you been up to today?
Just the usual. I did some history at school.
Oh, cool. Shall we watch a film?
Yay!
Right. Bedtime now, guys.
Night, Mum.
Goodbye. Night, loves. Right. Last little bit of urgent work to do tonight, and then time for a wine.
Wow, weren't they all amazing? I'm just so blown away by the quality and the passion of the voices that we've heard from today. And don't forget, there's another 140 plus of them on our YouTube channel. We've created a Be Heard channel so we can continue to amplify your voices after today's International Women's Day. This is where it starts. Please join the conversation. Please use the stage. Please sign up and have your voice heard. Thanks so much again for all of you who took the time today to share your voice and share your message. And please get the popcorn in, enjoy the videos, and thank you so much. So I think now it's time to have a deeper conversation. We're into our final slice of NPWLive with our headline partner, the British Army. And now I'm absolutely thrilled. Over the last few days, I've been having conversations with some amazing women. And this Keynote Conversations is brought to you in partnership with Accenture. The last year, without a doubt, has been challenging for so many of us and so many of you as we are juggling every single aspect of our lives. When we launched our Levelling Up report back in September, it was really key to us that, we didn't want to build back better. We wanted to build future better. We wanted to look at what the new future of work would look like, what would the new future of our working life, the blend of how we work would look. book. And so we've taken the opportunity to have some great conversations. And we spoke first to Kate Harcastle, MBE. She spoke at our very first Northern Power Women conference 6 years ago now, I can't believe it. And we talked to Kate about what does the new dawn mean and what does the new era of work look like. Let's hear from Kate.
We're going to emerge out of this reawakening from a period of what's felt like numbness for a lot of people, probably to a point that they don't really realise what we've been through, just what we have endured. And through that reawakening, we have to hope that in all elements in our lives, the business, the working, the social, we can make change for good. We can make change for better. Now's an absolute ideal time to use the time we have, the interactions we've got, to make the most of the journey ahead. And that's got to come through listening. I've always believed in the adage of 2 ears and 1 mouth. And I think it is about respectful and authentic communications. I think it's also about understanding that organisations, we can't just hope that it's going to be the next normal and then we get on with the show. It's got to be the fact that it's going to evolve and change as this reawakening happens. And it's quite understandable that people will have a certain way of wanting to work or have family life right now, and then that might change again. It might change again. So having that opportunity to pivot and adapt and change with the culture is all about, at the core of it, listening. Are we doing the right thing? Is this still working? Do we need to adapt and evolve? The plastic nature, perhaps, of where some organisations have hoped to tick a box or fulfil a sentiment is going to absolutely be challenged. And quite rightly, it's got to be about authenticity. It's got to be about doing it right. And as organisations, we have to work out how we carve that time into our day-to-day existence and our life. I think it's completely understandable that people will want to feel the need not to lose some of the small benefits that this very challenging situation has put us through. I don't want to go back to being on planes, trains and automobiles all of my working life when people have been so graciously able to use and take advantage of the technology available. At the same time, though, I also don't want to hide away. I know the opportunity of being out there and making sure that the network is reawakened. More than anything, I hope what we can learn is that this is very much about building bridges and not thrones. It's about making sure that we're not just on this journey as a singular, we're on it as a group of people. It's down to all of us to make the change. And it's about all of us not just calling it out or highlighting an issue, but actually working out what part we can play in making resolve. When I started my organisation 12 years ago now, we dedicated 20% back of our time to supporting community projects and micro businesses. And I have to say, what an honour that's been, in that I've been able to listen to over 3,000 micro business owners during that time. And I've heard some brilliance from them in almost the reverse mentoring and coaching they've given me. We all have an opportunity to use a platform or use our voice to make that change. And what we might actually get in return is that people can hear our voice and actually champion us too. There's a really unique element in that I think often as women can find it very challenging to find the confidence to strengthen our voice, but we can find it very easy to champion those around us. And so whilst we call organisations to shape shift in the way that we work, where we work, how we work, the hours we work, maybe we also can put a great call on ourselves to, if we can't find the strength to make sure that we widen our own platform, we can help and give a helping hand to other people and make sure that that platform's widened for all of us on the journey. I'd really be hopeful of that. I hope this has been the catalyst of change that perhaps we all needed to take a deep breath, go through and endure some very challenging times, but reawaken out of that stronger, better, and more importantly, as a collaborative force for change.
there's some great insights in there. I think one of my favourite quotes was about building bridges, not thrones, and I think that really resonates. And I think we're so passionate, aren't we? We talk an awful lot about paying it forward, being generous, make a difference. And so I was really blown away when I heard, you know, I think this is a best kept secret, Kate, you know, the fact that she's, you know, 20% that she gives back, and she's actually mentored and reverse mentored, if you like, over 3,000 micro businesses, you know, and that's proof to me that we can all do something. It doesn't matter the size of your business, the level of your expertise. This is where we can all play a part. We can all do something for others. We're all learning new stuff every day, you know, and one of the things that we talked about over lockdown, I think with some of the groups we're in, that we're making history every day. And I think that's why it's really important that we're talking about this new ways of work today and how we're working. And we've clearly seen that women, female and Black, Asian, minority-led businesses have been most disadvantaged. And, you know, and I think we've also seen, I think, out of this, the growth of entrepreneurs that have come through this, because, you know, we've got lots of women who've either been made redundant or don't want to do, like Kate says, don't want the trains, planes and automobiles anymore. So I think entrepreneurship is so important going forward, and looking at that innovation. And that, you know, I got the chance earlier last week or late last week to talk to the magnificent Linda Plant. You would know her better than Lord Sugar's interviewer on The Apprentice. And she gives those candidates a tough time. But you know what? She's so passionate about entrepreneurship. And Linda talks about the importance of technology and what she's developed over this lockdown, but also the growth and the importance of entrepreneurship. Let's hear from Linda.
Well, I think the opportunities of the new ways of working, well, firstly, I would say because things are moving to online, we're able to we're able to work anywhere, and we're able to reach people globally. That will give entrepreneurs a much bigger playing field. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you are. You can work and you can do business from anywhere because of the technology of working like this from home. I think that we can see, I have said for a long time that the high street, what has happened in the high street in probably the last 6 months was going to happen anyway in 3 years' time. So what we've got now is we've got to move to online businesses. I would say largely, I call it beds and sheds, because that's really what I see for the future. Sheds, because I think people who worked in the retail will now become working in distribution centres. There's great opportunity. We only have to look at Moonpig, at Uber Eats, at Deliveroo. There'll be whole new fields in the pharmaceutical industry, which for me, we've gone through this pandemic and hopefully we're going to come out the other end, but we can never take for granted again what has happened to us. And Britain is leading the field in so much, and we're going to be having new plants, making vaccine, bottling plants, so much opportunity. So what we have to do, what entrepreneurs can do, and should do if they're entrepreneurs, is pivot and realize how to now buy into the new way of working. So I think that entrepreneurs have lots of new opportunities, and if you're an entrepreneur, you will be able to pivot and you will be able to go into the new way of working and the new ideas. And I think there will be people who've been at home for a year. They might have ideas. They might be looking for angel investors. You know, they've had time to formulate their ideas, have a go at business. So entrepreneurs will be there to perhaps help these people along. So I think that we must always look at the positive, and we must always look at the opportunities. And there are definitely new opportunities. So I'm a positive person. I think if you're an entrepreneur, that's part of what you need to do. Part of, if you're a good business person, you pick yourself up, you dust yourself down, and you look to the future. We can't go back. We can always go forward. And we were destined, in any case, in my opinion, pandemic or no pandemic, for a massive change in the high street. It's just come that much quicker. And I think there'll be opportunities. I myself am in the property business, and I'm mainly in residential property. I think there'll be a lot of opportunities. I think we're going to have big blocks of stores, like for instance in Leeds, where I come from, Debenhams had a great big block. That will now have to transform into a mixture probably of residential, lifestyle, leisure wear. I think there will be, because there'll be a hybrid system, we'll probably have some co-working, which might be a form of WeWork, desk rentals, where people aren't paying big rents because they might only be working 3 days a week in the office and 2 days a week from home. So I think, yes, big changes are coming, but I think there's lots of pluses, lots of opportunities. Through this pandemic, businesses have showed that they can actually keep going. There might be a restaurant, but they've turned into takeaway. They've really gone hell for leather at that. And I think we'll come out of this and we'll have a different complexion of the high street. But I also happen to think that if we can moderate and get the business rates and the rentals into some form of acceptability, people still want to go shopping. They still want to go into shops, and maybe the Dorothy Perkins and the Topshops of this world, which have been swallowed up by Boohoo and ASOS, the main online fashion people, they'll do well, but there'll still be a market for people who have got niche businesses, smaller boutiques. People still will want that, and I think those businesses will thrive and survive as long as the rents can be manageable. So yes, definitely opportunity in the new ways of working, huge opportunity, because to sum it up, we can be global, can't we? We can be out, we can be everywhere, we can be anywhere. And that's the benefit, is technology is so beneficial. You can be global through it. You can sit at home and I can interview someone anywhere. I can be Zooming now and speaking to anyone anywhere.
Positive, 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 opportunities, opportunities, opportunities. And I think that's very much, again, something that we shout about, isn't it? We talk about what we can do. There's so many barriers that we can often face, but actually now is the time to look for those opportunities, look to see, what we can do, what we can collaborate. I mean, the power of collaboration as well. And I think we've seen that personally across the Northern Power Women community. I've heard many of your stories. We listened to some of those videos as well, but that the power of what the opportunities are and the power of kind of what we can do, and using technology for good will, sort of really help and support, sort of the growth and the development of our entrepreneurs. So please do, in the chat, keep the conversation going. Use the hashtag NPWLive, it's right here. And please do make connections, because together we are definitely stronger. And I think another real area that we were so passionate about when we wrote the Levelling Up report was about investing in our young people, giving more seats at the table for young people. And I had the pleasure to spend some time with Afia Amesu. She's the co-founder of She Leads for Legacy, and she talks about why it's so important to invest in young talent and future talent. Here's Afia.
The challenges faced by young people have been numerous over the pandemic. They've included fewer job roles and opportunities, increased claims for universal credit, and increased levels of unemployment. Now, this has had a knock-on effect on so many areas of their lives. It's included tolls on their mental health and well-being, a lack of motivation in school and employment, isolation and loneliness, challenging home situations, and pressures online and in social media. It's clear that steps need to be taken to address these issues, to ensure that our young people are not struggling and that they're in employment, education, or training. Now, there are a plethora of different requirements that can be taken, but I want to focus on 3 in particular that ought to be prioritized right now. We need to firstly inspire them, secondly, employ them, and finally, support them. We need to inspire our young people, inspire them to go again despite the challenges they faced over the last year, inspire them to believe that they have something of value to contribute, inspire them to participate and recognize that they are wanted and needed in our workplaces. We have the opportunity to hold talks, hold open days, hold virtual work experiences and training programs to better engage our young people and encourage them to work again. We can work in collaboration with universities, colleges, and schools to help young people navigate this new terrain and this new normal, to help them understand this changing job market and tackle it effectively. The onus is on us to take the steps required to inspire hope and lift spirits. Second, we must employ our young people. Over the next few months and years, we'll be rehiring to rebuild our economy. And so I encourage you to look at recruitment through a youth lens. Actively recruit young people and go to where they are. Go to where the young people are congregating, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Advertise on those sites so you can pique their interest and engage that demographic. In addition, use language that is simple, inclusive, and accessible. Don't allow young people to discount themselves from the roles you are advertising because the language is complicated and exclusive. I'd also urge you to focus on potential over qualification. Focus on the young person's drive, passion, ambition, and determination over results that may not be illustrative of their best work. Lastly, I encourage you to support your young people. Think about the ways in which you can retain and develop your young staff. Pay attention to their mental health, their well-being. Create flexible working hours and reasonable adjustments to allow them to overcome the ongoing challenges and difficulties that will stem from this pandemic. Enable your young staff to feel like they belong, like they're included, and they have something great to offer. Make your progression paths clear and transparent. Facilitate training programs for their continual development. As I said earlier, the onus is on us to take these steps to encourage and empower. Overall, it is clear that deliberate and intentional action must be taken to ensure that this generation is not lost. We must be intentional to ensure that our young people are revived, encouraged, and empowered to go forward and have hope for the future.
How impressive is Zafia? And I think if you weren't committed to supporting future talent, then you're going to be after listening to those top tips from Afia. And I think what we've been doing this morning at the start of International Women's Day is we held a carousel networking, a carousel mentoring event. And so many of you, hundreds of you, all put yourself forward to pay it forward. And I think that's so important, just to echo what Afia talked about. Pay it forward, be generous. You know, we need to support future talent. It's been a challenging year. We want to make sure that we keep those aspirations raised. So thanks to everyone who supported this morning, carousel mentoring and networking. It was, you know, just fantastic. And Afia, what you say is so sound. So please, I'm asking out there, give this young woman a seat at the table. You need to listen to what she has to say. And equally, you know, every one of us here on this conversation, in this chat, please do. Like Kate talked about earlier, sometimes it's easier to do something for someone else than it is yourself. Let's create those bigger platforms. Let's create those bigger stages, because together, if we support another, the sum of all those parts is absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much, Afia. It's been brilliant to sort of connect with you and meet with you and have this conversation. And I think it kind of leads us on to the next conversation I had was with one of my very good friends, June Sarpong OBE, who is the newly created diversity director for the BBC. And we caught up and we talked about the power of social media and the media. And, you know, we've very much relied in the last year of our government updates and our statistics and keeping in touch with family via our social media. So I asked June, you know, what does this look like? How do we take social media and the media into the new world of work?
I think our relationship with the media and social media will look very much different, but also the same in the new world of work. I think that social media and the media itself has been a lifeline for us during COVID. It's been where many of us have gotten our information about how to stay safe and how to protect our loved ones. It's been where we've gotten our information about the government guidelines and in terms of what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. And also, I think where work is concerned, we are now used to connecting with each other virtually, even in the world of work. So with our colleagues, we're now used to speaking to each other on a screen. And after COVID, when we go back into offices, I doubt we're going to go back into offices in the same way. It's going to be a hybrid. And so I think the way we engage with social media and even traditional media, we are much more engaging with traditional media in a virtual sense. We're engaging with traditional media still digitally. Even if we're using old traditional sources, we're still more or less getting a lot of that content in a digital way. So I think that will definitely influence how we are at work, because this is how we're all going to consume content. And this is how we're also going to connect with each other. So for me, I think it's important that we are all responsible to ensure that we're getting trusted media sources, and that's where we are getting our news and information from, and impartial sources as well, because you know what we don't want is for us to all become very siloed, because we've been used to somewhat being isolated, because we have been physically disconnected from each other through no fault of our own. We can't allow that to sort of set in. And that means being very open to where you get your news from, so that you really do understand all viewpoints. And therefore we better understand each other when we have to start interacting with each other again.
I mean, brilliant. I totally agree with the hybrid, June. I think the hybrid approach to work is so important. But one of the other things I just wanted to talk about was the 50-50 project. We at Northern Power Women have been involved in it. It's all about better representation in the media. So tell us why this is such a passion project for you, June.
I'm really proud of the BBC's 50-50 project. And as Director of Creative Diversity, it's great that the project comes under me and my department. It's been a massive success in terms of gender representation, because what it's done is it's allowed our creative teams to actually measure and monitor the kind of contributors they are booking and using, and actively ensuring that they are making sure that as many women as possible, obviously qualified women, are being approached and asked to appear on BBC shows. And I think the reason why it matters is because we're 50% of the population. I mean, if we want to be a broadcaster that really represents all of Britain, then I think this is a good place to start. Also, for us, it's really important to make sure that this isn't just London-centric. So for the work that you do at Northern Power Women, for us, there's a real synergy with 50-50, and we're so glad to have had the support that we've gotten from you all, because it's important to make sure that women from all over the country are represented, and you hear all accents, and you hear people from parts of Britain that perhaps don't get the kind of attention they deserve, and that we hear the voices of the women from those communities. So 50-50, I think, is a great way of doing that. And now, obviously, we're rolling it out for BAME and disability, and hoping to replicate the same kind of success with those groups, much like what we've been able to do with gender.
June, thank you so much. It was really great. It was always good to have a good old chat and a gossip and a catch up with you, but brilliant. And we, being involved in the 50-50 really inspired us, and that's why we've launched our Be Heard campaign. Have your voice heard. You've all got something to say, whether it's something about your side hustle, take the stage, have your voice heard. It's going to be even more important in the new world of work. We need to create more space. And I think my final conversation that we had last week with the wonderful Jasmine from Accenture, our partners for the Keynote conversation today, her passion just totally overwhelmed me. She's so passionate about women in tech, and we talked about how can you get more women into tech, how can we support more women into tech. Here's Jasmine.
So the first thing we need to address is how can the tech industry move past its reputation that technology is actually a man's world? And how do we support and grow our female talent through the tech career ranks? So for starters, we need to encourage girls from school age actually to embrace technology in all its forms. When you speak to many young women, there's a perception that technology is all about coding in a dark room, but actually women are huge consumers and contributors of modern day tech, but don't necessarily identify with a career in technology. We then need to really show the breadth of career options and to demonstrate to young women that they can have a thriving career when it comes to kind of growing and innovating. And there is a huge breadth of opportunity when pursuing a career in technology, from digital to artificial intelligence, cloud, extended reality, infrastructure, and software engineering, to name but a few. The choice is endless, and the great news is that there's a shortage of skills in this area, and women really need to be at the heart of this innovation. And then we really need to consider representation in the workplace. Often women feel that they can't progress when they don't see anyone like them that has made it to the leadership ranks. And we all know that when we don't see anybody like us, that looks like us, we have a feeling that we don't belong. And therefore we can't aspire to be something that we can't see. So to address this, I think we really need to pay attention to our inclusion and diversity strategies that all organisations do. And in my view, two of the most important initiatives that make the biggest difference is investing heavily in mentoring and sponsorship from the very start of a woman's career at the most junior level. In the past, women have only received sponsorship and mentoring as they progress to more senior roles and more leadership roles. But actually, that's far too late. Mentoring women at the start of their career will help empower them and give them a safe space to take on complex roles, take on risks, make mistakes, and learn. And we need to encourage women, again, from very early on in their career to have a voice and have a seat at the table. And we need to also ensure our more senior women are visible now more than ever, to act as role models, as they play a really pivotal role in a woman's career growth. Within Accenture specifically, we put a lot of focus on connecting our more junior women with our female leadership team to guide them and coach them throughout their career. And then when it comes to sponsorship, this is so fundamental, and it's one that gets missed a lot. But it's the pull through that every woman needs, the advocate who will speak on behalf of them in the room when they're not present, the person who will help them grow their network and give them opportunities that may not otherwise be presented. And, in Accenture specifically, within our technology business, 57% of our graduate and apprentice population are women, which is a huge number, right? So we have the diversity and the talent of women wanting to pursue tech careers. So it's fundamental, actually, that we ensure sponsorship and mentoring is in place to unlock that potential and that talent to help them to progress. And one final point is to consider how we support women to progress if they decide to have a family. We need to demonstrate that women no longer need to choose between a family and having a career. And there needs to be focus on the policies employers put in place beyond just maternity leave. For example, returnships and women being able to still progress in part-time roles, which I think in the past has been overlooked. And, you know, to conclude, this isn't only about women supporting women. Men are allies, and they, you know, our male colleagues act as sponsors and huge supporters. And actually progressing women to leadership is a cultural shift in the workplace. Organizations need to kind of make that cultural shift. And in my view, when, you know, considering our next set of leaders, we always need to lead with the thinking of culture add, not culture fit.
So many things that resonate with what we do. The importance of allies and advocates. We talk about that all the time. Northern Power Women, Northern Power Men, Northern Power Futures. We need advocates and allies to be able to help accelerate this agenda. We want to accelerate gender equality from the North. The importance of mentorship and sponsorship. Wow, you know, we are just so passionate. We've just finished a 12-week virtual mentoring program with 150 of you, and the feedback that we get from that. So again, reach out, have, you know, help someone, have a video chat, a virtual coffee with someone. Those small things can really make a difference, and we need that support. We need to be able to wrap around, you know, whether or not it's the peer-to-peer support, whether or not we're giving back. It's so important. So we have heard such fantastic conversations today. We've talked about what does the new future of work look like. It's not just work from home or flexible going forward. There's a different variety. There's a different range of styles. And I think it's very much a blended, or as June and Linda talked about, a hybrid approach to the world of work. But we need to be part of it. We need to be at the table to have the conversations about what that world looks like. So thank you so much for all your comments in the chat. Keep the conversation going. Hashtag NPWLive, hashtag Be Heard. It's so important. Thanks to all of you for giving your time today. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you to our headline partners, the British Army. Thank you for Future First for supporting the Early Careers Networking, and for Accenture for making this brilliant 5 voices and 1 conversation happen. Thanks again. Have a wonderful International Women's Day. Hashtag NPWLive. Thank you.